In Australian real estate, it's all about location. 95% of Australia is uninhabited, and all 27 million people that live here spread themselves across the remaining 5%. That 5% is the state playground that has birthed countless millionaires and even billionaires across this country. Out of the 27 million, 73% of us live in one of the 8 major cities, leaving regional areas only holding 27% of the population. Because of this heavy contrast between the two markets, regional areas tend to attract much fewer immigrants, resulting in wildly different property performances between the two. And from this, the regional market hasn't received much love from investors in the past. But unexpectedly, the last quarter has shown regional markets outperforming cities, making investors rethink their plan of action. 2023 was an unfortunate year for the regional market. The economy was slowing down and interest rates were rising. Houses were staying on the market for longer periods, sales for the year dropped quite significantly, and some properties decreased in value by up to 10%. This caused some investors who had assets in these areas to panic, but 2024 has fortunately provided some relief. 2024 started with a noticeable increase in leasing activity across regional markets. CoreLogic recorded a 1.2% quarterly increase in January compared to the 1% increase capital cities experienced over the same time period. Though these national averages can often mask some hidden opportunities. Let me show you. Albany, WA recorded 6.3% quarterly growth. Bunbury had an impressive yearly rental growth of 14.8%, and properties in Kalgoorlie returned gross rental yields of 9.5%. And a couple more areas of growth emerged. Gladstone at 11.6% and Mackay at 10.4%, both in Queensland. Data released by CoreLogic in May showed dwelling values across regional Australia have continued to outpace capital cities over the last quarter. Western Australia and Queensland are leading the pack, claiming 7 of the 10 top areas for most amounts of growth. The location that required the highest annual increase is Bunbury in WA with 20.7%, followed by Rockhampton, Queensland showing 16.4% growth. And Lismore in New South Wales experienced the highest growth in sales volume, performing 103.5% higher than the last year and 48% above the 5-year averages in the region. So I'm sure the question we're all asking now is whether the growth will continue. Here are some predictions from other investors. Despite the data showing regional areas outperforming capital cities in 2024, the sentiment report indicates that investors are still heavily in favour of capital cities. The report shows that 84% of investors predict property prices will continue to increase across the country, but only 66% of investors expect this growth to continue for regional properties. Perhaps most investors are still not aware of the opportunities offered by regional properties. It's very possible given the capital cities were outperforming regional properties just 6 months ago. Experts have now started describing the recent property market's performance as two-speed, noting consistent positive returns from Western Australia and Queensland, while some other states have become stagnant. The very obvious show pony right now is Perth, piquing many investors' interest with its recent performances fueled by housing shortages, driving up home values. Housing shortages have become quite the hot topic over the past few months, with vacancy rates of Perth and Adelaide dropping as low as 0.6%. In a recent survey, 42.2% of investors chose Perth as their top location to invest in 2024. Those who were able to jump on the Perth bandwagon early have managed to see returns averaging just over 25% since April last year. With all that said, it's pretty fair to say regional properties outpacing capital cities in any performance metric is quite rare to see. At the very least, it's an indication of the ongoing impact the pandemic has had on the property markets across Australia. Some investors are now looking at regional properties as they are more affordable and yet show some great growth potential due to high interest rates. Or perhaps they're willing to capitalise on growth opportunities away from cities. So the conclusion is, though 2023 turned out to be a pretty rough year for the Australian property market, there were some standout gems amidst the rough, with Perth stealing the spotlight and regional properties coming through with some impressive stats. The near future for regional markets are now looking optimistic considering they were once underdogs. It will be interesting to see what the future holds for regional and capital city properties in Australia. And if you want to stay up to date on the latest property market information, remember to subscribe and click that bell icon and don't miss out on any of the latest golden investment opportunities. Thanks for sticking with me till the end, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Cheers guys.